Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Yard Renovation Project. Episode 1, which I've linked below, was just people not showing up in the hole for summer to pick up the dirt when I listed it for free. So I outfitted my trailer in an episode below, and now we can stick it to the people by delivering it and getting it out of our way. So let's start this off with a bang and get this party started. Alright, so this is the start of summer number 2 of this project. This is late April at this point, and what I figured out in the first summer was that nobody wanted to come and pick up this dirt even when it was listed for free, so I had to deliver it to people, and the reason that I was trying to deliver it to people instead of taking it to a landfill or a dump or something like that is those places, if they would take it, and that's a big if, they charge by the pound. This stuff is extremely heavy. Every trailer load is about 1,000 to 1,500 pounds, which means I would have paid on the order of $10,000 to $20,000 just to get rid of this, and most of the excavation companies I contacted to get rid of this were charging in the realm of $20,000 to $30,000 only to get rid of this stuff, not including building a new wall. So financially, that was not an option for me. You might ask yourself, why are these prices so ridiculously high for what doesn't seem like a huge yard? Now, the reason is the access to the yard is terrible. So there is only about a 7-foot gap between the side of my garage and the retaining wall on that uphill side of the property. That is the only way to get to this backyard, and like I said, it's only like 7 feet or so. It's not big enough to fit a loader. Even a mini, I have to take down my fence, and you're pretty much going to be scraping on both sides. There's not enough space to turn or anything, so this almost has to be a manual job, or they have to use a crane to get the dirt out, which again is way more money than it's worth on a property of this price point. So like I said, we didn't make a ton of progress in the first year because no one showed up. This got very washed out because of all the rain, but we knew where the first few loads of dirt were going. I already had a pile up front for people to pick it up, so we loaded that into the trailer and headed out on our way to drop it off at a family friend's house. And even though this was the first voyage of the year and the first time that this trailer hauled dirt, of course this happened to me, because why wouldn't it happen? Someone rear-ended the trailer while I was sitting still at a traffic light when all my lights were functioning. Especially considering I had literally just gotten this trailer fully functioning and just finished outfitting it, that was extremely frustrating. So her excuse was that her Chevy Avalanche was too high up and she couldn't see this 14-foot long red trailer with brake lights in front of her, so that she completely missed it. Because obviously, an Avalanche is the same height as the Gravedigger. But I've tried to make it clear on this channel that my mantra is to try to not be dicks to people for no reason, because that never gets you anything. So even though I think this woman was just clueless and probably not the brightest, that doesn't really give me the right to just be a dick to her, right? So I took her insurance information and continued on my day, which took way longer than it should have. There's nothing apparent that I found that was broken, and I honestly think she hit that wooden tailgate in the back of the trailer and then pressed it into the dirt. So the dirt compresses enough that it absorbed all of the impact for the most part, and the weight of all that dirt offset the impact force. So actually the dirt saved me in this case. The other fortunate part, which is why I think she was just completely clueless, is that she was approaching the back of my car at like 10 to 15 miles an hour. Like, she knew that there was a red light and she was going very slow, so I legitimately don't know how she still ran into the trailer. But anyway, looking at the bright side, at least it wasn't a hard hit and nothing was broken and I could still do what I needed to do. So with what I was hoping to be the last catastrophe of the season out of the way, I made it to the friend's house, and you can see I've got the crank unloader, which is that truck bed unloader. That made unloading this dirt way easier than it would have been if I had to shovel this off. So like I said, I bought that to save my back. It did a phenomenal job at that. Then after that, made it back to the house without issue, loaded up the trailer another time, didn't have time to drop it off that day, but of course getting rear-ended in the trailer couldn't have been my only folly for this summer, because then this happened. Alright, we're gonna play a little bit of Jeopardy here. So what does an ankle-shaped ice pack, a pair of crutches, and an $800 space boot have in common? Well, these are the things that were used to treat my shattered ankle. So at this point where I'm editing the footage and then filming this section, my ankle is, I would say, healed. I wouldn't say it's 100%, but it's at least healed. But basically, 2 to 3 weeks after I filmed the rest of this, I shattered my ankle before I could even drop off the rest of that dirt. Which means within the span of 2 to 3 weeks, I got rear-ended in the wagon with the trailer that I had just refinished. I had to kick an ex-girlfriend out of my house, and then I got a speeding ticket in the Viper, followed by shattering my ankle and having to spend thousands of dollars out of pocket between all of this stuff as well as the CT scans. So when people come to me and they're like, oh, you have a Viper or a Cayenne or whatever vehicle I have, and they say, oh, you're so lucky, I am probably the least lucky person in the world. The only reason I have these things is with financial foresight and budgeting skills and stuff like that, so I'll link some of those videos in the description below. Either way though, that took out my ability to do anything else on the yard. I couldn't lift stuff, I couldn't really put any weight on it for the next like 6 to 8 months, so I pretty much lost the entire year. That's when I tried the bed set project, which I'll link in the description below as well, because that was like the most weight I could lift was the boards to do that. But that'll do it for this episode. I'll catch you guys in the next one, and that is where we will make real progress, which was year 3 of the project, which is mind-blowing to say at this point. But either way, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you next time.